The average American emits over 23 tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere every single year. Since most of us aren't ready to give up our cars or live off the grid, carbon offsetting is quickly becoming a viable step towards taking responsibility for our ecological footprint. To learn more about how it works, I sat down with Eric Carlson, Executive Director of CarbonFund.org, a nonprofit dedicated to solving today's climate crisis. So what exactly is a carbon footprint?
Your carbon footprint is the cumulative impact that you have on climate change from everything that we do, from the electricity we use, the heating and cooling that we use, our car and air travel, the clothes we wear, the food that we eat. All of those things are done using energy, and most of that energy comes from dirty sources that have an impact on climate change. So when you add those all together, that's your climate footprint, or your carbon footprint. And the average American is responsible for more than 23 tons of carbon emissions every year. To put that in perspective, that's about 140 pounds for every American every single day.
Wow.
Just from the things that we do.
That's crazy. So basically carbon is the thing that contributes to the greenhouse gases and global warming.
That's right. When you turn on the lights, those lights are powered by a power plant, and about 50% of our electricity in our country comes from the burning of coal. We also get it from natural gas, oil, and nuclear, and other sources. But over half of that comes from coal. And that coal being burned and going into the atmosphere releases carbon dioxide emissions, and it's the buildup of carbon dioxide emissions that's causing climate change.
I see. Okay. So what does carbon offsetting mean exactly?
Carbon offset on its very basic level is reducing a ton of carbon dioxide emissions from a baseline. So if you were responsible for 20 tons of carbon dioxide emissions last year, which is the average American's output, you can reduce a little bit here and there, and you should, and then you reduce 20 tons somewhere else by planting trees, supporting renewable energy or energy efficiency, and that sort of thing. And so it's the process of balancing out your emissions. And what we hope is that people will see this as a process. You reduce some this year, and you offset the rest. And then next year you'll reduce some more. Maybe you add insulation to your home, add a programmable thermostat, buy that hybrid car you've been looking at, and then you offset a little bit less. But as long as you use electricity, as long as you wear clothes or eat food that are made using energy, you have a carbon footprint. And the real decision is, do I do something about it or not?
What would be the process if I went to CarbonFund.org and said I want to offset my carbon footprint?
First, again, you come to our website. We have a carbon calculator that you can use to input things like how much electricity do I use, how much heating, how much air travel and car driving, and based on those measures you're told what your carbon footprint is. And from there we have simple things you can do to reduce your emissions. We also allow people to offset the rest, offset your footprint. And you can do that by supporting renewable energy like wind and solar or methane, energy efficiency, and reforestation projects. And then what Carbon Fund does is we then go out and support the projects that you choose and ensure that they are third-party certified and verified, that they're transparent, that they have other social and economic values behind them. And we basically go out and ensure that that's done for you. Consumers should really look for price and choice. Some people really like reforestation. Reforestation or deforestation is causing 20% of climate change, so reforestation is a critical part of that solution. Other people really want to support renewable energy because they want to get us to a clean energy future faster.
Is it expensive?
It's actually not expensive. The average American can offset their carbon footprint for about $100 a year, just over $8 a month. And what they're doing, in addition to reducing their carbon footprint today, they're supporting the development of wind, solar, methane energy, or other carbon offsets, other clean technology. and they're helping to drive down the price of that technology so that one day clean energy will cost less than dirty energy. And that's the goal, is to transform the market.
Got it.
If all of our energy came from renewable sources today, we wouldn't be having this discussion.
That makes sense. And I guess what I'm still a little cloudy on is I understand, for example, reforestation. So if I spent $100, basically less than a cup of Starbucks per week, to offset my carbon, clean up after myself, if you will. Mm-hmm. If I went and did that, how would my $100 go and actually contribute to offsetting that 250 tons you said of
20 tons.
20 tons, okay. But that 20 tons of carbon that I'm emitting into the air.
Well, there are 3 types of carbon offsets. Renewable energy, like wind and solar and methane, which reduce the need for new emissions to go out. So you have wind, which displaces coal. You have energy efficiency, which is using energy, clean technology more efficiently, reduces the need for more energy. With reforestation, we go out and we support tree planting projects, again, that are third-party certified for their carbon impact. And what trees do is absorb carbon dioxide emissions over their lifetime. So one tree will absorb about a ton of CO2 over its lifetime.
So if I chose, say for example, renewable energy, so then you would go into a wind energy project and purchase 20 tons of wind energy?
That's right. What we would do is we would find, say, a wind facility or a methane digester project, which is a very interesting technology, or a landfill methane project that is certified to reduce 20 tons of carbon dioxide emissions.
Mm-hmm. All of your carbon offsetting programs are certified?
All of our projects are independently certified by a third party, and we have an annual financial audit done, which is required by law, as well as a portfolio audit to ensure that we've matched up appropriately all the donations that were supposed to go to renewable energy, went to renewable energy, all the ones for efficiency and reforestation, and all that's on our website as well.
You are a nonprofit. How do you think that changes the game, and how do you compare to, say, somebody who is a for-profit but still in the carbon offsetting business?
I think what's great about being a nonprofit is it's clear what our mission is. Our mission is to protect the climate, to transform the market, to make clean energy cost less than dirty energy. There's no sort of hidden motive tied to that. I think a lot of consumers like knowing that, for instance, their donation is tax deductible. Mm-hmm. You know, when you support clean energy, you may be doing it to offset your emissions, but the good that comes out of that is a public good. It's clean air, and that's something we all get. And I think that in a lot of ways, carbon offsetting is more akin to, say, donating for cancer research, mm-hmm. where the output of that benefits all of us. And normally those types of organizations are nonprofits.
So what would you say to somebody who says, I don't want to carpool to work. I need my car. I like my freedom. Global warming's not my responsibility. Why should I become inconvenienced by offsetting my carbon or by taking these steps that you're saying to reduce climate change?
The main reason is because we're all responsible for climate change. Every time you turn on a light bulb, anytime you put gas in your tank, whether it's a hybrid or a Hummer, you're responsible for climate change. The clothes that you're wearing, the food that you eat, we're all responsible for it, and we all have to be part of the solution. This is about protecting our environment and getting ourselves to that future that is clean and low carbon. And you know, not everybody will or can carpool to work, but there are other things you can do. You can travel a bit less. If you have to drive to work, you can drive a more efficient car. I don't buy the argument that there's nothing anybody can do. Mm-hmm. Even if it's not much, you can do some things and you can offset the rest. And bear in mind, when you do offset, you are buying green energy instead of coal. That's very important. You're driving down the price of wind so that it will one day cost less than coal. These are extremely important measures so that hopefully one day your utility will simply build renewable energy facilities based on economics. And that's when we all win, when all the electricity we consume, whether it's a little or a lot, is clean. The best thing to do is to not get on the plane in the first place. But if you're going to get on the plane, you have two choices. You can offset the emissions or not. Real leaders, environmental leaders, understand that there are times when they have to get on the plane, and if they're going to, they should offset those emissions. But not offsetting those emissions is irresponsible. It's not part of the solution.
Right. So it's better to do something than do nothing.
Absolutely. Now you know what gets me worked up.
Yeah.
This episode of Conscious Living is carbon-free in partnership with carbonfund.org.